各位
Dear friends from the media, good afternoon. Welcome to today's press conference. Now I would like to announce that at the invitation of the government of Seychelles, President Xi Jinping, Special Envoy and Minister of Transport Liu Wei will attend the National Day celebrations commemorating the 50th anniversary of Seychelles' independence in Victoria on June the 28th. From Beijing Youth, we've noted that the Bangladeshi Prime Minister Tariq will conclude his visit to China today. Can you further brief us on the visit? Bangladeshi Prime Minister Tariq Rahman paid an official visit to China from June the 22nd to 26th and attended the 17th Summer Davos. During his visit, President Xi Jinping, Premier Li Qiang, and Chairman of the NPC Standing Committee met with and held talks with him respectively to have in-depth exchanges of views on bilateral relations and international and regional issues of mutual interest. Broader-based common understandings and a series of practical cooperation results have been achieved, which forms the new strategic planning for the development of China-Bangladesh relations. And there are mainly three highlights. First, rendering each other steadfast mutual support. Leaders of the two countries agreed to build a China-Bangladesh community with a shared future in the new era. The two sides will firmly support each other's core interests, step up in exchanges on governance experience, and enhance political mutual trust. China supports the new government of Bangladesh in smoothly advancing governance. The Bangladeshi side reiterated its firm commitment to the One China principle. Second, deepen mutually beneficial cooperation. The two sides agreed to advance high-quality Belt and Road cooperation, further dovetail development strategies, steadily promote the implementation of major landmark projects, such as ports and water conservation projects, promote cooperation in such fields as trade, industrial and supply chains, and finance, expand cooperation in such emerging areas as new energy, digital economy, AI, information and communication, and step up regional connectivity. The two sides signed multiple cooperation documents. Third is to upholding international fairness and justice. The two sides will enhance communication and coordination in the UN and other multilateral frameworks, promote an equal and orderly multipolar world and a universally beneficial and inclusive economic globalization, and jointly defend the victorious outcome of the World War II as well as the UN-centered international order. Through the visit, China stands ready to work with Bangladesh to further deepen strategic communication and to let our bilateral relations better benefit our two countries and two peoples. Next question, please.
Good afternoon. A question from Telesur. Following the earthquakes that affected Venezuela, the ministry's spokesperson said yesterday that China is ready to provide assistance according to Venezuela's needs. Could you please clarify where there has already been coordination with the Venezuelan government regarding rescue efforts, emergency supplies, or other forms of humanitarian assistance? And could you provide an update of the situation of the Chinese citizens affected by the disaster? Thank you.
In the wake of the earthquakes, which caused massive casualties and economic loss in Venezuela, the Chinese government has expressed sympathies to the Venezuelan government and people, and the Venezuelan government has thanked China for this. The Chinese government and the Red Cross Society of China will provide emergency humanitarian aid to Venezuela respectively. China will also send a rescue team to carry out search, rescue, and medical aid. We stand ready to provide further support in light of the severity of the disaster. Verified information shows that, as of today, 2 Chinese nationals have died in the earthquakes. The Chinese embassy in Venezuela is doing what we can to provide consular assistance and making every effort to learn whether our Chinese compatriots there are safe. We remind the Chinese nationals in Venezuela to stay on alert against the possible secondary hazards of the earthquakes. Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。总台央视记者提问。
From CCTV, the 17th AMNC was concluded yesterday, and media has discussed a lot about China's market dividends and innovation dividends. They continue to make headlines, which calls into question such rhetoric as China shock or trade imbalance. Lately, we have seen more object and rational voices around the world rejecting protectionism and advocating building an open and inclusive world economy. What is China's comment? More and more countries have come to realize that seizing China Opportunity 2.0 is not only a pressing priority, but also a key to future success. The quality products China exports to the world is a boon, not a shock. For industries, Chinese equipment and components help them to achieve upgrading and green transition and better integrate into global value chains. According to the UN Conference on Trade and Development, intermediary trade with China has increased in the number of developed countries as key global trading hubs from 6 in 2007 to 11 in 2024. And for consumers, China's affordable quality products help ease the strain of inflation by allowing them to reduce household spending. The European Central Bank estimates that a 10% increase in China's imports to the EU in 2026 will reduce overall import prices by 1.6%. China never seeks trade surplus. Instead, we open our domestic market with the rest of the world. In the first 5 months this year, China's imports surged by 20.5%, outpacing export growth by 8.7 percentage points. Among China's top 50 trading partners, 32 registered high growth in export to China than import from China. A multidimensional vision of China Opportunity 2.0 is unfolding before our eyes. The Chinese market will unlock new space for growth. Made in China will embrace a more efficient industrial ecosystem. China's infrastructure development will ensure more enabling conditions. The Chinese government will foster a more open, equitable, and friendly business environment. To root your business in China is to embrace opportunities. To integrate into China is to secure a promising future. Next one, please.
Yocham News Agency. Chinese fishing vessels keeps illegal fishing in the sea west of ROK. In recent days, President Li Zhuanbian also said he's concerned over the situation. What's your position on that?
Safeguarding the stability of seawater between China and Korea is in the interest of both sides, and it is in the interest of both sides to safeguard the fishery order. China always advocates and asks our fishermen to operate in line with relevant laws and regulations, and we always firmly safeguard the legitimate rights and interests of fishermen, and we've maintained dialogue, communication, and close exchanges with the Korean side. Next one, please.
谢谢发言人 NHK 提问。
During the CISCE, multiple economic groups from Japan have visited China. So what's China's comment on the civil exchanges between China and Japan, and what's your expectations in this regard? In addition, Japan's Association for the Promotion of International Trade have visited MFA during its visit to China and met with Deputy Foreign Minister Hua Chunying. So can you brief us on the specific situation and its contents?
On your first question, the fourth China International Supply Chain Expo was started on June the 22nd. Enterprises and organizations from all parts of the world have actively participated in. As far as I know, many enterprises and economic communities from Japan also participated in. This reflects their urgent need for restoring China-Japan relations and conducting China-Japan cooperation. We hope the Japanese side could look up to the root cause of the current question have deep remorse and show their sincerity of enhancing its relations with China to create necessary conditions for normal exchanges with China. And as for your second question, Hashimoto Tashiki, that is the head of the GAPIT, visited China, and China has made our position clear previously. We hope the Japanese side and economic community could make active contribution to enhancing the China-Japan relations and help the Japanese government have a right understanding of China-Japan relations. Next one, please.
From PTI, you just announced about Bangladesh Prime Minister visit and the discussions with the Chinese leaders. You also mentioned the water projects, agreements related to water projects and cooperation. Reports from Bangladesh media, official media, saying that the two sides have actually reached a cooperative agreement or understanding about the T-Star River projects, besides other rivers. There are very serious concerns India has about this T-Star cooperation between China and Bangladesh because it runs very close to the border and also India's northeast province as such. How China view this kind of these concerns, and have these concerns been discussed between the two leaders?
I've just briefed on the situation of Prime Minister Tariq's visit to China. China is ready to conduct cooperation and communication in multiple areas with Bangladesh. And the projects in T-Star River is an important project in our bilateral cooperation. I would like to stress that our cooperation does not target at any third party and does not be subject to the interference of any third party. Next one, please. From
Austrian Foreign Minister just concluded her visit to China. Can you brief us on that, and what's your comment on the outcomes of this visit? At the invitation of member of the Political Bureau of the CPC Central Committee and the Minister of Foreign Affairs Wang Yi, Austrian Foreign Minister Reisinger visited China from June the 22nd to 26th. This is her first visit to China since she took office. The two foreign ministers had an in-depth exchange of views on bilateral relations and international and regional issues. Before she came to Beijing, she had visited Shanghai and Taicang, Jiangsu Province. During her trip in Beijing, she visited the China International Supply Chain Expo exhibitions and attended the reception celebrating the 55th anniversary of the diplomatic ties. This visit features a tight schedule and produces fruitful results, with three keywords standing out. First, enduring friendship. Foreign Minister Reisinger's visit to China is an important part of celebrations on our diplomatic ties. She said that since our relations were established 55 years ago, great progress has been made. The establishment of the China-Austria Friendly Strategic Partnership in 2018 shows that, despite different paths and systems, the two sides have established a stable and resilient partnership. Going forward, both sides agreed to keep high-level exchanges, strengthen strategic dialogue, and respect each other's core interests, so as to inject new vitality to our traditional friendship in the new era. China appreciates Austria for its reasonable and pragmatic policy towards China, and hopes that Austria will continue playing a constructive role in China-EU relations. The Austrian side is also ready to facilitate candid dialogue between China and the EU for the steady and sound development of China-EU relations. Second, mutually beneficial cooperation. This year marks the 60th anniversary of the China Council for the Promotion of International Trade and the Austrian Federal Economic Chamber, setting up representative offices respectively in each other's capital. During the visit, Foreign Minister Reisinger brought along a business delegation focused on bilateral economic and trade cooperation, visited Austrian businesses in China, attended a business roundtable, and took a test ride in China's new energy vehicle. She commended China's economic development and innovation achievements multiple times and noted that Austrian companies are ready to further explore the Chinese market take part in the development of Chinese modernization, and deepen cooperation with China in areas of manufacturing, digitalization, finance, green development, science, education, and innovation. China supports the two countries in having closer economic and people-to-people exchanges to make the pie of cooperation bigger for mutual benefit. Third, multilateralism. Amid a volatile international situation and grave challenges to peace and development, China and Austria both support multilateralism and free trade and are committed to upholding the authority of the UN and international rule of law. China congratulates Austria on its election as a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council. We stand ready to enhance communication and collaboration with Austria to jointly uphold the authority of the UN, defend international rule of law and fairness and justice, work to reform and improve the global governance system, and make a new contribution to world peace and development. Austria expressed its readiness to have close collaboration with China, fully fulfill its duty as a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council, cement the UN's central role, and bring big and small countries together for world peace and development. Next one, please. It is reported that on June the 22nd, the Council of the League of Arab States at the ministerial level appointed Nabil Fahmy, former Foreign Minister of Egypt, as the new Secretary General of the Arab League. What's your comment on that? The Arab League is a symbol of strength through unity among Arab states. China congratulates Mr. Fahmy on being appointed as the new Secretary General of the Arab League and hopes that China-Arab relations will be further advanced during his term. As a good friend and partner of Arab countries, China is committed to strengthening solidarity and cooperation and standing together against challenges with the Arab side so that we can add new meanings to China-Arab strategic partnership and build a higher-level China-Arab community with a shared future. Next one, please.
Thank you. A question from AFP. Officials in New Zealand have said that China is expanding its military presence in the Pacific with activities including ballistic missile tests and deployments of Navy warships near Australia and New Zealand. This is according to an internal report from December seen by AFP. Does the Foreign Ministry have comment on this?
I'm not familiar with the so-called internal document. Let me stress that China is committed to peaceful development. In developing its defense capabilities, China aims to safeguard its sovereignty, security, and development interests and does not target any other country. China's military growth means a stronger force for world peace and is conducive to safeguarding peace and stability in the Asia-Pacific and beyond. Next one, please. From People's
Today is the UN Charter Day. What's China's take on the current challenges of upholding the purposes and the principles of the UN Charter? How can we better defend this authority? The UN Charter has established the UN-centered international system, the norms governing state-to-state relations, and the foundation for international rule of law. Observing the UN Charter is the biggest common denominator of the post-war international community. The root cause of the chaos in today's world is not that the Charter's spirit is outdated, but that the international order and the basic norms governing international relations, both set out in the Charter, are not being effectively upheld and observed. As the first country to put its signature on the UN Charter, China is committed to upholding and implementing the Charter. In May, when holding the rotating presidency of the UN Security Council, Foreign Minister Wang Yi chaired the Security Council high-level meeting in New York, centered around upholding the purposes and principles of the UN Charter and strengthening the UN-centered international system, with the aim to discussing the historic significance and the relevance of the UN Charter in our times. The shared message among the representatives from nearly 110 participating countries is the need to uphold one and the same system, the UN-centered international system, and observe the same set of norms, the basic norms governing international relations, based on the purposes and principles of the UN Charter. China will work with the international community to take the UN Charter Day as an opportunity to renew the vision embodied in the Charter, carry forward its spirit, and uphold the purposes and principles of the Charter so as to defend, revitalize, and strengthen the UN and build a more just and equitable global governance system.
下一个问题。
Next one, please.
还有其他问题吗？
Any other questions?
好，今
That concludes today's press conference. Thank you for coming.